Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jimmy, and I love Christmas. How about you, Frank?
Oh, Christmas is my favorite time of year.
Absolutely. I today actually finished all my Christmas shopping.
Let me ask you, why do you love Christmas so much?
Oh, well, that's an easy one for me. I love Christmas because of my great grandfather. See, when I was a kid, I was always in my grandparents' house because my parents both worked, and during the day I was watched by them before I started going to school. And my great grandfather, Peter, he was really good at making ceramic decorations. Like he made ceramic Christmas trees, ceramic snow people, ceramic Santa Clauses, and all the different characters. And
But you know,
the man was just brilliant, Frank. I mean, he's one of those
would he
people.
let you help him? Would he let you help him?
I really wasn't artistic in any way, shape, or form. My art is writing poetry. I'm actually pretty decent at that at best. In other words, I'm a B plus.
Oh,
uh,
so now what else about Christmas? It just
and
remind you
it's
of
also just the overall atmosphere. You know, the the companionship for everyone's fellow man. You know, if everyone acted that way all year round, maybe this would be a better world to live in. But
hey,
on
everybody always gets a little bit nicer.
I don't know. I guess, like I said, it's just the overall feeling. I always enjoyed Christmas as a kid, and as an adult, I still enjoy it. And you could see, for anyone that's watching the video, I even have my own little Christmas tree in my little office space here. I absolutely love it. I love Christmas. Believe it or not, I'm actually going to show this to the camera because this is of sentimental value to me. Back when I was in grade school and my sister was in grade school, we used to have this Christmas fair every single year at the school. And my sister got me this. It's a crystal nutcracker. Because my sister, everyone knows I love nutcrackers because it reminds me of March of the Wooden Soldiers. For anyone that has seen that movie with Laurel and Hardy, I love the wooden soldiers. So I have a lot of nutcrackers around. You can actually see there on the end table, there's two of them. That's like 2 of 10 that I have scattered around here. So she got me that crystal nutcracker and I put it out every year. Just think about this, Frank. In 2 years, I'll be celebrating Christmas in the comfort of my first owned home with my fiance.
Wow, you're gonna be married.
Yeah, I'm going to be married at that point, which is going to be awesome. Yeah, so to anyone that wants to turn and say you can't be a wrestling fan and get any, they're full of shit. They're completely full of shit. The first time she ever came, a quick story, Frank. Before the first time I ever brought her up here, she saw my collection of the championships. She's like, "Holy crap, are those real? Can I take them down?" She wanted to hold them. It
Hey,
was
that's
just,
cool. Whatever works, whatever gimmick works, right?
hey, listen. The way I look at it is this: the person that loves you the most wants you to change the least.
Right. We all need gimmicks.
Absolutely, and this is my gimmick, or it hasn't been that much lately. I never thought in my life, Frank, that I would be so inactive on the page. And I never thought I would watch so little amount of wrestling.
Well, what's happened to you and me is that you finally we finally hit the wall. We're not getting any payoffs.
No, no, absolutely not. I'm not getting any payoffs. I'm not seeing the guys I like getting pushed. I'm not seeing the fans getting what they want, which honestly, this is my perspective. If I saw that the audience was enjoying themselves more and more, and the guys that were over that were getting pushed, even if I didn't necessarily like Dean Ambrose, for example. I don't like Dean Ambrose because of some comments he made back in February of this year. It really pissed me off the way he was disrespecting the fans because to me, I tell anyone that's a fan of the business, don't ever let any fucking wrestler intimidate you or tell you how you should fucking feel about a certain
Well,
situation.
you know what it is? They take the company line. That's what it is. They keep hearing it every
Their
day.
job, I guess, is to put the best spin on a bad situation, but at some point you got to stop insulting the customer's intelligence because
When I was a kid, I remember the wrestlers used to think that the fans were the most important thing.
back in the day when we were kids, the fans were the most important thing. Today, they don't give a fuck about us. And guess what? Little by little, the fans are starting to realize that. And that's why the ratings have been low because they're chasing the fans away. You're getting what you want. A lot of the apologists of the WWE ass licking society is finally getting what they want. You tell us to stop watching, people eventually get tired of being smacked in the face.
Well,
You know.
it's just like in any entertainment. field, the fans spend the money. The fans
Exactly.
pay the bill.
The second you start thinking, you know better than your audience, you're dead in the water. It
And
made
listen, here's another thing. See, that we talked about the ratings declining and this and that. The next step is going to be the attendance at the live shows if they don't turn the ship around.
How about this, Frank? It's already started. People have already started leaving before the main event
I
scene.
said that last week, but hey, listen. After a while, how many times are people going to go to live events and be disappointed?
People eventually get tired of getting fucked over.
Everybody today is used to watching TV and watching the Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views.
See, here's what's the truth about the audience that is left. The audience that is left are there for two reasons: habit and hope. Once the habit gets broken, they start to not hope anymore.
It's the conditioning. Right?
Exactly. I used to be conditioned to watch Raw every single fucking week. I am no longer conditioned to watch every Monday.
It's like the mouse in the box that keeps pressing the lever to get fed. You know, after a while, he keeps pressing that lever and he never gets fed. He's going to stop pressing the lever.
Exactly. And the next step for me is the pay-per-views. If I no longer want to even spend one day a month to watch, that's no good.
Yeah.
And
get back to the originals. It was only you go back to '96. Raw used to be held in the Manhattan Center.
Yep.
With a few thousand people. So they can go back to that next week. If they keep losing money.
You know what's funny, Frank? Years ago, when I started really hating John Cena, I would say around 2006, 2007 is when it really started. I would be like, why don't they just fucking turn him heel? If fans are booing him, just fucking turn him and make money off of it. You know, that seemed like the... And then...
I don't want to turn this into a Cena fest, but he in a way, he stepped into unfortunate circumstances because he did peak in an era when there was little around. And I'll say that's from 2007 to 2010, or 2006 to 2010. And but after that, there was no excuse. 2011 was CM Punk, 2013 was Daniel Bryan, and now they have plenty of guys who could step up. So
me and Frank discussed this in the first part today. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I mean, these are the guys that I think WWE should be pushing like full force, trying to make them all feel just as important as each other. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan. Kevin Owens, and you could even throw in Ryback, because honestly, he does have a little bit of a following. If you booked him right, he could have that same magic he had in 2012.
Ryback especially, because his character is about power. If he loses or looks weak, it's over for him because he has nothing else to offer.
So that's around what, 8 or 9 guys I mentioned, Frank?
And that's it. That should be your 7, 8 guys, your top 3 guys.
And how many of those guys could win the title right now and have it be believable? Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, I think, is it.
Right now, no. Actually, right now, it's only Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins.
I don't even think it's believable for Seth Rollins to win the championship clean, because he's been booked as such a fucking twat. It's hysterical.
For him to win it again, he'll have to turn the face, and I don't know. But anyway, getting back to the point, is that you keep those 7 guys strong, and you protect those guys, and everybody else falls into. Then you build a middle tier. You know, you have your Nevilles, your Wade Barretts, your Del Rios,
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd, your Nevilles. You know, your Stardust.
And then eventually you got to call up guys like Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, listen, those guys are good. You could keep them in the mid-card. And until one of them or 2 of them are ready to really explode, then you could...
just think, Frank, the 8 guys we just mentioned, if 1 or 2 of those guys go down with injury, you still have 5 or 6 guys to rely upon. Why would you not want to do that?
And here's another thing, is see those top guys, you never have them interact with each other too much.
No, of course not. So that way, when they do interact with each other, it means something.
You can't have, let's say, out of those two guys, you can't have Roman Reigns and Cesaro wrestle every week or more, and Roman Reigns beats Cesaro, even though it'll be a 10-minute match, good match, that takes away from a future pay-per-view, a future build-up, you know?
Why do you think I didn't like the U.S. Open Challenge that Cena had? Because every single one of those guys were people that he could have potentially feuded with, and he beat every single one of them, and now all those potential matches are now dog shit.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Each one of those challenges could have went into a feud, like Kevin Owens, like he did with Kevin Owens.
Oh, please. I'm considering getting shock treatment to forget the Kevin Owens feud with John Cena, because as usual,
and listen,
every feud with Cena is a fucking waste of fucking
actually,
time.
You see, as right as you are, they actually gave Kevin Owens a strong booking against Cena. He beat him in the first match, and the second match, even though he lost, he crippled him at the end of the match.
Yeah, and then of course, WWE had the opportunity to take somebody like a Kevin Owens, and run with him and make him one of those guys to where you're not so sure if he's going to lose. They could have built him up so fucking strong that he could have been viable for an opponent for Brock Lesnar or The Undertaker on a main stage. And instead, what they did is what they always fucking do. LOL, Cena wins, and now Kevin Owens is just like everybody else. You notice how different Kevin Owens felt when he first came on the scene? And how he...
on that Raw segment, he powerbombed Machine Gun Kelly.
I mean, you're kidding me, right? That you've had the chance to take a guy who's... You know who two of Kevin Owens' biggest fans are? Let's see. You may know their names. One is The Rock, and the other is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right,
and guess what? They were both fans of his long before he got to the WWE. I'll give you an example. Kevin Owens was so good on the independent scene that Stone Cold Steve Austin went to him and asked for him to be on his show. You know how good Kevin Owens always was? Anytime The Rock would come back to the WWE, he would hunt down Kurt Hawkins and ask him for tapes on Kevin Owens because The Rock's a fucking fan.
You know who recently put down Kevin Owens?
Who?
Vince Russo on
Oh, yeah, I heard about that shit. Listen. I like Russo from time to time. He says some things that are intelligent. Russo grew up in an era where all the top guys were bodybuilders. I got news for you.
They're on steroids.
This is not the 80s anymore. Not everyone can... I can't identify with a bodybuilder.
A lot of those guys were ripped because they were on steroids.
Exactly. I can identify with... There's plenty of guys I can identify with on the WWE roster. I can identify with Kevin Owens. I can identify with Bray Wyatt. I can identify with Daniel Bryan. I can identify with all three of those guys. I can't identify with the John Cena. I don't always win in life. I don't have a get-out-of-jail-free card for every fucking situation. And I don't make excuses for every time I fuck up. How the hell could anybody identify with that guy? Unless his name is Clark Kent.
Yeah, Vince also said, he goes, if I'm a casual fan and I see Kevin Owens, the first thing that comes to my mind is that fat guy. That's what he said.
Out of touch.
And he said there's no excuse for a wrestler not to work out and look good.
Really? So I guess Vince Russo never knew Bam Bam Bigelow, Yokozuna, Mick Foley, or Dusty Rhodes.
But you see, that's scratching the surface. Because that's how maybe writers in the WWE see Kevin Owens. Or Vince. Maybe that's how Vince sees him.
That's definitely how Vince sees him, but Vince has got to go. Look at how strongly Triple H had Kevin Owens on NXT. Think about that. Kevin Owens only lost one clean one-on-one match via pinfall on NXT. And that was to Finn Balor. So when he actually did lose, it meant something. That's the whole fucking point of Bray Wyatt that I was trying to get into in the first video. This guy's been beaten so many fucking times. When he loses, it don't mean nothing. Like, okay. The latest rumor that I've heard is that they're looking to put Bray Wyatt in the ring at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Why would anybody for a single second believe that Bray Wyatt even has a remote chance of winning?
Now, I could see the booking already. I could see going into WrestleMania, they're going to terrorize Brock Lesnar. They're going to gang up on him, and then Brock Lesnar's just going to kick their little asses, and he's going to slaughter Bray Wyatt in WrestleMania. So that doesn't help Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt was not helped by his feud with Cena. Don't care what anyone says. It did him no favors. His feuds, both of them with The Undertaker, did him absolutely no favors. I'm sorry. Bray Wyatt is supposed to win all three of those encounters. He's supposed to beat John Cena. He's supposed to beat a 50-year-old Undertaker. Why didn't he? Did The Undertaker get beat by Jimmy Superfly Snuka? Did he get beat by Jake the Snake Roberts? No! Did The Undertaker get beat clean by Hulk Hogan? No! Morons! They fucking protected The Undertaker.
So let's
Frank, just give me a second. It drives me nuts.
I know.
It drives me nuts that they expect these people expect too fucking much. They expect this guy to be a compelling character that people want to pay to see, but they don't want to fucking book him like he is so. You take away The Undertaker's strong booking the first few years of his career, that solid foundation.
See, what did we just talk about before? Don't let the top guys interact with each other too much.
It's not even that. You don't fucking beat these guys clean.
I don't know, Neville.
Please, Adrian Neville's another guy. He was main eventing the fucking takeovers, having these incredible matches. What have they done with him since he got to the main roster? This makes me not want to see Finn Balor get called up to the main roster. He's even openly said he doesn't want to get called up anytime soon. Can you blame him? Look at what they've done with the Wyatts, what they've done with Bo Dallas, what they've done with Neville. And that's the problem. These fucking writers are more respected than the fucking talent. Talent is what draws money in this business, not the fucking writers. The writing this year, overall, and this is something else me and Frank are gonna get into right now. The overall writing for this year, 2015, has been 100% idiotic. I mean, has there been a single compelling story for anyone not named Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, or John Cena? No.
I can't think of it.
No, I can't. I'm glad that you're saying this too, Frank, because if it's just me...
The most popular thing this year was the New Day.
Exactly, and that was a fucking fluke. It was three job guys getting together.
How stupid are they getting now? With the unicorns and the...
Yeah, with the dildos on their fucking heads. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I have always found the New Day entertaining. But now they're making them a little too over the top and quite...
They're not that popular and they're not that funny.
Well, the funny thing is, though, their shit has been selling.
Yeah, but I'm saying they shouldn't be as popular. They shouldn't be as pushed as much as they should be.
Well,
but that just shows you there's nothing else. There's very little.
When the New Day and their stupidity is the best part consistently of the show, that should tell you just how bad the shows have been. Frank and I have been saying this for a while, and people have called me crazy. They'll never touch Frank because they don't see him. But they'll turn around and say, oh, you're just a hater, you're this, you're that. Everything we've been saying has finally come to pass. We have said, if you don't make new stars and you constantly rely on the old names, eventually fans are going to get fucking tired of sitting around and waiting for their fucking turn. People are tired of this nonsense. Brock, I ask you guys, I ask anyone within the sound of my voice that has tried to rationalize the WWE's behavior over the last few years, what do you do when Brock Lesnar is no longer an option? What do you do when The Undertaker is no longer an option? What do you do when The Rock doesn't want to do this shit anymore? What do you do when John Cena and Randy Orton have to hang it up? What do you do then? You're going to build your entire show around Roman Reigns? I can tell you as a fan of the guy, that will never work. He cannot carry the WWE on his own. No one guy should have to carry the company on his own. There should be a great number of guys to help shoulder that burden. You think Stone Cold Steve Austin carried the entire WWF on his back by himself? No. He had The Rock. He had Mick Foley. He had Triple H. He had The Undertaker. He had Kane. And dare I say it, he
that's too much pressure for anybody.
He had Mr. McMahon. You cannot expect John Cena, no matter what anyone wants to say. Is he a hard worker? Absolutely. You'll never hear me say he's not a hard worker, because he is. And I tip my Santa Claus hat to him that I'm wearing. But can anyone honestly say that John Cena has carried the WWE on his own to greener pastures? Has John Cena brought in new viewers for the WWE? No.
At best, John Cena kept them afloat.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I've been trying to say. John Cena is not a moneymaker like Stone Cold. Stone Cold and The Rock made money for the WWE.
Right. Let's go back. Hulk Hogan, did he carry the WWE above? Yes.
Yes.
He took them out of 1,000-seat arenas into big arenas.
As JR put it, from the outhouse to the penthouse. As much as I hate Hogan, and everyone knows that I do, because I do feel Macho Man Randy Savage was way fucking better.
But Hulk Hogan was universally over.
So was Macho Man.
Yeah, but I'm saying, yes, but...
The only thing Hogan did that Macho didn't was star in a movie back in the day.
From 83 to 86, Hulk Hogan was the man. Maybe 87, 88, Macho Man maybe came to his level. But, and then, all right, let's go to Stone Cold. Stone Cold ever played the WWE?
He helped. He played an extremely big role in turning the fucking corner between him and Vince and the storylines they were doing with that, and then you add the extra things on top like the Undertaker and Kane and Mick Foley and D-Generation X.
I'm talking about the top guys.
Stone Cold was the man.
He took WWE from the brink of going out of business to winning the Monday Night Wars.
Yes, but that burden was also shouldered by guys like Rock, guys like The Undertaker.
Stone Cold, he was billed as the top. He was the face of the company for those 3 years.
Yes.
It was him, so the responsibility fell on him.
Now we get to see him.
Yes.
And they did the best business they've ever done.
And then The Rock, did he improve when he became the face of the company? Yes.
When Stone Cold went down with injury, The Rock picked up the fucking reins of that company, and they didn't falter for a minute.
Right.
And that is the God's honest truth. Much as I'm not a fan of The Rock, the fact of the matter is, when he was going up against that McMahon-Helmsley faction, you wanted to see The Rock whip their candy asses. And when he did...
And again, I don't want to turn to Cena Fest, but it might not be entirely his fault. But when he became the face, he kept them afloat. He kept them steady, and now finally,
What I'm happy about, Frank, more than anything, is all the shit that they've done with Cena is finally coming back to bite them in the ass.
Well,
I was saying it would since 2007, and everyone called me crazy.
See, like I said before, from 2006, 7 to 2011,
they had no one else on his level that was even remotely close.
There were other guys that were ready to step up.
I'm sorry?
I said from 2011 to present, now there's other guys to step up.
But none of them have ever even been given a fair shake at doing so.
There lies the problem. Everybody is on par with each other. Nobody's allowed to shine, and nobody's allowed to grab the brass ring.
Because Vince McMahon has the brass ring locked up in a safe with 10 locks on it.
Yes.
How can anyone be expected to grab the brass ring when no one's even allowed to even approach it? You look at a guy like Kevin Owens as an example. When he was feuding...
Like I said before, how are you supposed to take chances and shine...
If every time you do, you're punished.
Minutes on TV, and when you next week you lose.
It's like when Kevin, like I was about to say, when Kevin Owens was feuding with Cena, his merchandise was selling hand over fist. But then Cena's merchandise sales dropped, and they panicked, and they made him go over, and then they made him go over again.
I know, yeah, you're exactly right.
You know, it's like, okay, Dean Ambrose is another guy. Dean Ambrose was outselling Cena merchandise with that hoodie. Guess what they did the week after those numbers came out? Dean Ambrose was no longer wearing that hoodie to the ring. You don't think that where there's smoke, there's fire? Or do you just...
It's all conspiracy, Shane. It's all conspiracy.
It's actually fact. It's actually fact. If you actually look back, and actually go back to the actual show, you look at the date of when the merchandise sale numbers came out, and then you go back on the network to watch the Raw the week after, he wasn't wearing that fucking hoodie. And that's why so many people turned on Roman Reigns at the Rumble, because they see the same fucking shit being done with him, and they don't want it again.
Because it's predictable, that's why.
It's not even that it's predictable. The fans are sick and tired of having their intelligence insulted. You know, what they've been doing with Roman Reigns the last 2 weeks, from what I've read, that's how you book him. You book him like that guy from Game of Thrones who's going to be playing Aquaman in the Justice League movies. You make him a killer. I mean, I don't understand what's so difficult. Roman Reigns is a killer. How do you not book him as one?
In the ring, at least, you book him aggressive, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He should have been aggressive from day one.
How do you see the Royal Rumble card shaping up?
Oh, well, and this is how we're going to have to put an end to this for the night. I'll be honest with you, Frank. I'm at a loss. I ain't got a clue.
Do you think Roman Reigns and Sheamus again?
Honestly, with the way things are looking, one or two things is going to happen. And neither is something that I would like to see. I think Roman's going to go into WrestleMania as the champion, and he's fighting one or two people. It's either going to be Brock Lesnar or Triple H. Which means
winning the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
I think probably Brock Lesnar will win the Royal Rumble.
And to me, that's such a bad decision. For so many different reasons. And I'll tell you why. The last 3 years, the Royal Rumble has ended with the fans booing the winner. I'm tired of that. The other reason that I was pissed off about the Rumble the last 3 years is because there was nobody that would benefit from winning the Rumble. Guys like Daniel Bryan, guys like Dean Ambrose. You could call me an internet fan all you want. I don't care. It makes no difference to me. Fact is, all the WWE Network subscribers, they have to access the network through the internet. If you're going to insult someone, use some sort of intelligence. Because only in 2015 would being smart be a bad thing. I never thought I would hear, Frank, that using intelligence was a bad thing. Do you understand that logic?
Yeah, I'm about to say, their shows are that intelligent. It doesn't take a genius to follow their shows, and they're so predictable.
I could tell you this. The only people that should be winning that Royal Rumble are universally over baby faces that are there, that are going to be there. Brock Lesnar ain't the answer. You were still pulling 2.3 ratings with him on Raw. He ain't the answer. Triple H being in title matches is not the answer. John Cena being in title matches is not the answer. The Undertaker being in title matches is not the answer. You have to build... WrestleMania 32 should be all about building that next generation. That's what it should be about.
So who do you think, in your opinion, should win the Royal Rumble?
You don't want my answer, Frank.
Daniel Bryan?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Because I would have Roman Reigns... I would have Roman Reigns fucking turn heel as the champion. How believable is that match? Roman Reigns, who has beaten Daniel Bryan with all the confidence in the world. See, what I would have did is I would have had Roman Reigns win the title at Survivor Series just as they did. I would have had him turn fucking heel and buddy up with Triple H. Then, at the Royal Rumble, I'd have him defend against somebody, probably Dean Ambrose. And then I would have Daniel Bryan come out at number 30, or maybe number 29, and win the Royal Rumble. And at the Royal Rumble, I would have had Daniel Bryan come out at number 29 as a surprise, with everyone knowing Brock Lesnar's number 30, giving the tease of Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, but then Brock Lesnar suplexing everyone in sight because he won the number 30 spot, and then have Kevin Owens attack him on behalf of the Authority because Brock Lesnar threatens to kill Roman Reigns at WrestleMania a second year in a row. And Triple H hires Kevin Owens to get rid of Brock Lesnar. It's not that fucking hard. And you tell me that Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble wouldn't send the crowd home happy? Of course it would. Of course it would. And the end game is Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan go against each other, and Roman Reigns could turn around and say, Daniel, not for nothing. The last time I wrestled you, I kicked your ass.
Okay, would the main event, the WrestleMania, be believable with Bryan and Reigns?
Absolutely it would be, because you know what else I would throw in the mix? Guess who I'd have as the special guest referee, considering that fucking state that it's going to be in?
Stone Cold?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely.
So do you think they would, going into that match, would you have any confidence in Daniel Bryan coming out of that match with the title?
If Austin's the referee, I call it Bryan would win the match, following a stunner to Reigns and a knee to the face. That's how that's how I would do it, because Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania ain't the answer, because Triple H isn't going to be an option in a few years. Brock Lesnar's contract is up in 2 years. How much longer is the WWE going to rely on past names that are past their time?
I think Triple H and Reigns will happen at the February pay-per-view.
Honestly, I ain't got a clue, and in a way that's good, because I don't want to know what's going to happen. The Rumble, I don't know. I'm definitely not having the Rumble at my house, Frank, because the last 2 years, it's been, actually the last couple of years, it's been I dread the Rumble now. With the way they've booked that Rumble the last few years, from fucking since Del Rio won the Rumble, I've been sick to my fucking stomach watching that Rumble match.
I guess you just got to manage your expectations.
Honestly, as a
too much.
Del Rio, Sheamus, Cena, Batista, and Reigns. Let me see. Hang on a second. Del Rio, Sheamus, Cena, Batista. The last 5 Royal Rumbles have been a major disappointment. What does that say?
It's just a reflection of the product.
I'm very happy that this isn't a one-man show, because I would begin to think I'm going crazy, Frank. I'm actually starting to believe some of our viewers that they. You
brainwashed me.
Yeah, I'm the one that made you drink. You're drinking my Kool-Aid, Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I used to be a good boy. I never complained, and ever since I met you.
Ever since you met me, your mind is open now. You don't just willingly accept what they shove down. It's like the mainstream media, It's like all the different shows, like MSNBC and Fox News. The way they like to spin things, the pro-Democrat or the pro-Republican way. If that's how you watch the news, you have a very distorted view of the world. Just letting you know. I could tell you, I can't watch half these debates, Frank, because I know they're all full of shit. I mean, unless it's someone that's not a Democrat or Republican, I don't want to fucking hear a word that they got to say. If it's, because honestly, if you're listening to a Democrat, I'm not trying to get political, but if you're listening to a Democrat or a Republican, you're getting you'd get the same spin from the other side. Politics is just like wrestling. Democrats and Republicans pretend they hate each other, but backstage they're shaking hands and they're owned by the same lobbyists, so it doesn't matter who wins, right or wrong, Frank.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And Frank and I'll get more into that. When we're gonna do, Frank and I would like to do our first political show before the new year. Frank, you think that's doable?
Yeah, sure.
I think that Frank and I are long overdue to do our first political show. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to. Well, it's been a displeasure to talk about some of the bullshit that we have to bring up, but it's been a pleasure to vent here with all of you, even those of you that are our detractors. We appreciate the hate. Trust me, we do. And we hope you guys have a Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate it. Hope those of you that are our Jewish viewers had a Happy Hanukkah. And I wish everyone a happy and healthy New Year. Hope you guys enjoy the holidays. I know I will. Frank, You know, it's always a pleasure sitting here talking with you, shooting the shit. You're a hell of a guy, and thanks for being my co-host. I appreciate it.
And we'll do that political show this week.
Absolutely, and keep drinking the Kool-Aid, Frank.
Cherry flavor.
Put it on ice. You know, I don't think I brainwashed you enough. You know, to start using common sense. Before we cut the show, is that the thing? They're actually saying that I brainwashed you.
Oh, who was it? That was your buddy Mike.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm a good talker. I ain't that good to where I get. Even if I was good enough to do so, I wouldn't want to brainwash anyone. I try to just project my view and facilitate discussion, not brainwash. I try to encourage common sense being used, not blind loyalty. You know, it's amazing, Frank, how many times you and I on the show disagree on things, but yet we never fight with each other. We never disrespect each other. You ever find that interesting?
Oh yeah. We always find common ground.
It's amazing how you and I could disagree on so many different things related to this business, but yet we're never insulting each other. Maybe some of you guys could take a lesson from that.
Well, I guess it just comes down to that. You have to be secure in yourself.
Frank, you just hit the nail right on the head, and that's how I'm ending the show. You guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care, guys.